tech giant Nvidia has pulled off a massive acquisition, $700 million that they had laying around, and they decided to acquire Run AI, which is an Israeli startup that develops software for managing and orchestrating AI computing resources. And look, the exact terms I don't think were exactly disclosed. I think this is kind of just coming from reporting. $700 million is a colossal sum for NVIDIA to pay. I think NVIDIA actually has been working with Run AI, but Jaden, this is a space that you're more familiar with. Talk to us about what's interesting about this to you.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is right now we're seeing NVIDIA make a lot of big plays. And by the way, like you mentioned, this deal isn't like completely solidified. People are saying $700 million, but it could go up to $1 billion. They're in advanced negotiations, and you know how these things kind of tend to edge up a little bit. What's interesting to me is that we recently just had NVIDIA, we had Jensen Huang, who in person went to the OpenAI headquarters and delivered the very first GDX H200 GPU to OpenAI, their latest AI processing, their latest AI GPU for training AI, right? The H200, this is what everyone's been.
Sign up to The Economist for in-depth curated expert analysis of world events and topics ranging from business and culture to science and technology. You'll get the weekly digital edition, online-only articles, curated newsletters on politics, the markets, science, culture, and China, and full access to The Economist Podcast Plus. The Economist is independent journalism for independent thinking. Go to economist.com and get your first month free.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Drooling over, because essentially this thing is it's significantly faster, more efficient, whatever, right? So this thing's better. What's interesting is this is all part of their GDX platform. Right now, NVIDIA is really pushing to build some cloud AI platform, their GDX cloud AI platform. And what's interesting is I think you're seeing all of the cloud providers are making an insane amount of money right now with everything happening in AI. You have AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud. These are huge winners right now. They're signing multi-billion-dollar deals with different companies and making $100 million investments. So these are big winners. And I think that NVIDIA wants in on the cloud action. So they're building a platform. They have all the chips already. So they're like, look, we'll just connect you to them. They're building the cloud infrastructure and platform. And I think that this acquisition of Run AI is kind of their latest move in really making this a more robust platform. Because when you think of AWS or you think of Google Cloud or Azure, it's not just the cloud resources that they have. It's not just like, oh, we have, compute that you can use to train. They have a lot of other software, a lot of other tools, a lot of infrastructure that makes it very appealing to get onto their platform. I know for myself, building AI Box, which if you're not on the wait list, you definitely got to get on the wait list for AI Box, no code AI app builder marketplace. We have we're using AWS for our backend on this, but one of the big reasons is because of all of the different software and offerings that AWS has beyond just, like a great server or something. They have tons of software, plugins, integrations, and tools that are making this really, attractive for us to essentially build our backend there. Now, I know you can kind of move around for a lot of different reasons, but anyways, I think that NVIDIA really is trying to build out a very well-rounded platform, and so that's kind of why we're seeing these huge, eye-watering billion-dollar acquisitions.
Yeah, no question. And I'm glad you brought that up because, the cloud play is like everything these days, right? And NVIDIA, like these huge companies, it's sort of like Apple, right? They're building, one of the questions about whether Apple would build out an LLM, for example, is what are they going to leverage it to do? If they don't have cloud, it's funny because we can kind of play in this space about this is this LLM, all that kind of stuff. But businesses in America and around the world, they just want to get their stuff done. Do you know what I mean? They have all this data, they need to do their stuff. And I think we saw this the other day too, maybe it was a couple of days ago, but that Google Cloud just absolutely crushed the last fiscal quarter. I mean, Alphabet's revenue jumped by 15%, from $70 billion. It was the biggest rate of growth since 2022. Their operating income in Google's cloud is quadrupled to $900 million. I mean, like, and you think about, there's Google Cloud, there's AWS, there's Azure. And this is what I love about your product, Jaden, which is, AI Box, which is like, you're looking at a lot of different tools. And as we see with NVIDIA, I mean, you can sort of say like, oh, well, nobody will ever compete against, AWS and Azure and Google Cloud and all that kind of stuff. But all of a sudden, NVIDIA kind of like coming up, like really throws not a wrench, but I mean, just makes the competition so much more interesting. And I think the big thing about something like this is that, the reason why like Microsoft and OpenAI and Google and everybody else are trying to go into sort of like really heavy into agentic, AI agent sort of stuff, is that they know that businesses don't have a lot of creativity when they're thinking about how to drive forth value, right? So I do a ton of training on this myself out of NYU, but just like sort of like on my own consulting gig here. And the interesting thing is that businesses, they're still businesses. Do you know what I mean? Like AI didn't actually change anything. They still want things done, all that kind of stuff. And they're still just like, can you make this go faster? They don't really want like okay, help me figure out how to do this better. They're just like, we want to do the same thing faster. Now, of course, you and I sort of really talk about why there's a better way to do this and really use and leverage large language models to do that and to augment productivity and everything else. But the really interesting thing is that NVIDIA sort of like recognizes that, like, look, for a long time, businesses are in very slow evolution mode, where they just want their stuff. They just want like stuff done on the cloud. They want kind of like the basic stuff. And this feels like maybe that's a move toward that.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's a lot of exciting things here. Looking at Run AI and specifically like what they're saying about this, it seems like they're super excited about this whole deal. Obviously, probably the price tag helps a lot in this. But their CEO, who's Omer Geller, he's got a co-founder, Ronan Dar. They both started this thing while they were studying at Tel Aviv University. And like the idea that they really were trying to do right here was break up. They were trying to build a platform that could, break up AI models into smaller pieces that could run in parallel across different hardware. Whether that's in the cloud or on site, whatever, right? So he has a quote about this whole acquisition, and so it seems like this is a happy moment for them. He said, Run AI has been a close collaborator with NVIDIA since 2020, and we share a passion for helping our customers make the most of their infrastructure. We're thrilled to join NVIDIA and look forward to continuing our journey together. It seems like this has been something that's like a very collaborative effort, like, you know what I mean? And I feel like this is what happens with a lot of these companies. It's not like it comes out of left field. Oh my gosh, NVIDIA is offering $1 billion for this company. It's like, yeah, they've been collaborating for like 4 years. They've integrated very well. And this is kind of how you see these deals happen. So anyways, I think this is a great outcome for the founders. This is a great outcome for probably consumers as NVIDIA starts to beef this up. And it's going to be a really interesting to see the outcome for NVIDIA shareholders and the NVIDIA, brand overall as they really start beefing out some of their infrastructure. So exciting moment, I think, for a lot of people on this one.
Yeah, no question. I think that there's a sense that like the more big players you have in this space, the better. I mean, we have sort of like a handful, maybe like 4 or 5 or 6 or something like that, but we just need more. I mean, like it's just how it's going to go, because the little ones, even as we saw with Inflection, and that wasn't little, that was $4 billion or something like that, can get crushed so easily that it's great to sort of see NVIDIA building out a bigger offering. And so we're not sort of, not there's anything wrong with the Google ecosystem, MS ecosystem, anybody's ecosystem, but it's helpful to have competition.
100%. If you enjoyed the podcast episode today, if you could I got a couple favors to ask. The first one is, if you're not subscribed to Connor's newsletter, you need to subscribe to his newsletter. We're going to leave the link in the show notes for that. But this thing is phenomenal. It's going to get you up to date on everything happening in AI. It's kind of, Connor gives like a bit of a long form, a dive into some topics that you don't always hear covered other places. He's got really interesting and impressive perspectives on this stuff. So highly, highly recommend you subscribe to the newsletter. If you enjoyed the episode, if you could do us both a huge favor and leave us a review, we super, super appreciate that. And we hope that you all have an amazing rest of your day.